couple days ago, Astro released their brand new database, and I was immediately very interested in this for the simple fact that this is the most integrated into a framework I have ever seen a database, at least in the modern JS world. Astro DB and Astro are inseparable. You cannot use Astro DB without Astro, but a lot of the things that are built into it are really cool, and I wanted to try it out. So I took my current Astro landing page site, which has an email list on it, and I moved my email list over to the new Astro DB. And I want to show you guys what that looks like and give you some of my thoughts on how this actually works. And spoiler alert, I think it's really sick. If you go to Astro's homepage, they added a new button up here at the top called Astro Studio. And when you hit this, this will open up the brand new Astro Studio dashboard, which has all the information for managing your databases. I have two here that I've created. I created this Astro Studio demo, and I created this landing page v2, which is actually the project which is hosting the email list. If we go in here, if we go into the database, you can see I have to blur all these out, obviously, but this is the email list that's actually running in production for this landing page I built, and getting this set up was remarkably trivial. I'll have the quick start guide linked down below. We're not going to go through and do a full tutorial here, but really the gist of all you need to do is you need to go ahead and run at pnpm astro add db. That will add the database into your project. Literally all this basically does is installs the package and then adds to your little Astro config here. It adds db. And then from there, you go ahead, you create your database directory, you create your config, you define the shape of your tables here, and then that's basically it. You have a fully functioning database. And whenever I go over here to actually spin up the dev server, I just do pnpm run dev. You'll see what it does is this will spin up a brand new local instance of Astro DB, and that is stored over here in our .astro. We have this content.db because this entire thing is built on SQLite, more specifically libsql and Terso, which I think is really cool. I want to do more investigation and work looking at SQLite. I'm really considering it for a lot of my projects. I love the SQLite developer experience, going through and being able to just creating a new content.db file anytime I want to mess with stuff, easily pushing to it, deleting it, messing with it, makes for an incredible local development experience. And it also has a lot of the features you need to just build your application these days with platforms like Terso. So it's something I want to spend more time with in the future, but for right now, it's cool to see this working here in Astro. And to go ahead and actually work with and query our database, it's incredibly trivial because this whole thing is wrapping Drizzle. We go over here to our list/add.ts. This is the actual file where this is the actual API route for adding someone to the email list. The way we interact with our database is just through Drizzle. They wrapped the Drizzle ORM here, so I could just do db.select email.from email list, where if you've seen Drizzle, you've seen this, and I really like this. I really like how they've kind of thought everything through, and it's a very batteries included experience to just go ahead and very quickly get a database spun up and working for your application. And like I said, working with this is trivial. And to actually go ahead and deploy this, all you have to do is you have to just run pnpm astro link, and then that will go ahead and create your link file here, get all your information. And then to actually deploy our schema, we just go into our terminal. We go ahead and do pnpm db push -- remote. That will go ahead and take all of our local schema changes, push them to our remote thing, and then that's it. We have our database in production. You can host your landing page out on Versell, which is what I'm doing. All you have to do to get it working with the database is just go over here to settings, into environment variables, and then you just need to go ahead and add your Astro Studio app token, which you can go ahead and generate here in the actual Astro dashboard. You go into tokens and you create a new token here, and that's all you have to do. Super simple and trivial to get this spun up, and I think this is pretty awesome. So as far as my high level thoughts on how this actually feels and whether or not I would actually use this, I think the answer is I would definitely use this. And I think for the type of sites that you're going to end up building with Astro, this makes a ton of sense. Astro, at least to me, has always marketed itself as being great for content-driven websites that don't need super crazy dynamic SPA type functionality, but something like a blog or a marketing page or even just a more simple web app. It works super well for that kind of thing, and this is the perfect database to pair with this. This is not the most powerful database system you're ever going to see. It does not have nearly the set of features that Postgres or MySQL or any of these other platforms would have. And while I'm sure that this can scale really far, and I think Terso is doing some really cool stuff to make SQLite scale way further than most people think it can. I want to investigate that more, but that's a topic for another day. But this to me very much feels like the perfect companion database for these types of sites. Using it for an email list, for a forum sign up, for some marketing thing is just perfect. I love how deeply baked in this is to the framework. This makes it so quick and easy to get a project set up, and that's something I'm a huge fan of. I love getting less friction between me and actually going through and solving the problem I want to solve. Having it be a simple pnpm add command followed by creating a config in a nice type-safe familiar way, followed by querying and working with our database in the way we're all generally used to these days with Drizzle. It's great. It's really nice having an experience like this so deeply baked into the framework that anytime I'm making a landing or anytime I'm making anything in Astro, and honestly, I think Astro is capable of a lot more than, at least myself personally, I think it's capable of a lot more than I've really given it credit for in the past, where, you know, you can build some really powerful stuff here. It's got a full API in here. It's got a full server-side rendering. It has an amazing markdown system. There's a lot of really cool stuff we can do here. And I want to experiment with that more in the future. And just having access to a database like this straight out of the box is fantastic. My only real complaint is, and I posted about this on Twitter and we went back and forth, and unfortunately it's not solved right now, is there's no immediate way to get Drizzle Studio working out of the box. And for those of you who aren't familiar, I'll use this project as an example. We'll do pnpm run at DB Studio. And this will go ahead and open up the Drizzle Studio for me for this project I'm working on. This is another video which will be coming out soon. Basically, I built out a little SvelteKit demo app with a Hono backend, which is really cool what you can do there, but that's another topic. And basically what I get here is I get a really nice menu system where I can go through, view all the columns in my database, or view all the tables in my database, get a deeper look into my to-do section. I can edit these, I can add more to these. And as silly as it may sound, this has become a huge part of my local app dev workflow, and it really is kind of a bummer to not have it here. However, there is a very easy workaround here. If you go into your .astro file, this content.db is literally just a SQLite file, so I can just go ahead, right-click, copy path, and then you can go into any SQL, you can go into any SQL client or whatever. I'm using Table Plus, and you can go in here and you can just connect to it and then get full access to your database here. This is, again, I was loading in all my data and stuff for getting the email list working, so I was testing it here, and this works locally. So the last thing I want to show off here is the fact that we can execute TS files directly into our database, which is incredibly useful. The example they use is seeding your database, which makes a ton of sense, and I went ahead and put together an example here. If you look at my little seed.ts file, it'll say db.insert showcase, because we created that little showcase table. It'll say values test, make sure you guys are subscribed, which you should be. And then finally, we can go over here in the terminal and just run pnpm astro db execute. Go ahead and run this. It'll fire that TS file to our remote instance because we went ahead and linked to the remote Astro DB. We can go over here, we can hit this, and you can see this will now show up in our live production database. And it really is that simple. And that's kind of the theme of this whole thing, is the Astro DB system feels incredibly simple, easy, and intuitive to use. It is not the most powerful DB in the world, but it is an incredibly effective system for getting basic database operations working for your Astro site. And if you're building something with Astro, I highly, highly, highly recommend checking this out. This is really cool. I'll definitely be using this more in the future. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.